Hello there, my name is Solmaz, and you are listening to Tabling Thoughts podcast. In this podcast, I talk about my experiences as a relationship coach and psychotherapist. The little things that I noticed in my clients' day to day lives, which may affect the quality of their lives and relationships enormously, and for some reasons, they don't pay that much of attention to them. As I mentioned, I'm a relationship coach and I also practice as a psychotherapist in Ontario, Canada. In order to get more information about me, you may check my Instagram account, YouTube, or my other podcasts via the links in description. You are listening to episode number 11 in May 2024, and I'm going to talk about the role of entrainment in developing habits. Last week, I was listening to one of Dr. Huberman's podcasts. He brought up a very interesting concept regarding to habit stacking and developing habits. The concept is called entrainment. It brought it to my attention that many of us in different religions, spiritualities, we have heard that if you do something between 21 to 40 days, it will be a ritual for you. It will be engraved in your mind. And I couldn't really relate to it that is it consistency? Is it the way that we get used to it? Till I was introduced to this concept of entrainment by Dr. Huberman. Part of the research I did regarding to this concept was reading an article that Dr. Huberman had referred to. I really simplified the whole concept, and in this episode I'm going to talk about it. Let's see, what's entrainment? Entrainment is the process of syncing a person's behavior or psychological rhythms with outside stimuli or cycles. Dr. Andrew Huberman discusses this concept in relation to developing new habits, mostly effective ones, of course. This idea is frequently used to explain how new habits can be formed and strengthened by regular exposure to particular stimuli or patterns. Entrainment can be used, for instance, to align your sleep wake cycle with external cues such as natural light or a regular alarm time. If your goal is to form the habit of waking up early, for instance, your body's internal rhythms eventually shift when you expose yourself to these cues on a regular basis, which makes it simpler to routinely get up early. The regular basis we're talking here is defined to be 21 days, 40 days, 60 days, 90 days. It depends from body to body, from character to character. Entrainment is the process of cueing desired behaviors by regular, predictable signals, such as certain times of the day, environmental shifts, or habitual activities. This helps to develop and sustain desired behaviors over time. In order to make it simpler, in this episode I decided to use more examples rather than definitions or explanations. So let's go to examples. Maybe that would be more helpful. The first one that comes to anyone's mind is the routine of our exercises, the exercise routine, right? So what is the external cue? Setting a specific time each day to exercise. I would say 8:30 every day. I will set the time to exercise for 1 hour or half an hour, give and take. So entrainment process will be your body and mind adjust to expect physical activities at that time, making it easier to stick to the exercise routine. Meaning that after a week, subconsciously, my body says it's time for exercise. I'm up, I'm ready to go. The alarm goes up, and the first person wakes up before alarm is me. Meaning that my body and my mind will help me to get through this new change because I have kind of made a ritual for it, for both of them, and I have programmed them to get ready for that. So let's have another example. The meal times. External cue is eating meals at the same times every day. Entrainment process is that your digestive system and hunger cues align with these set meal times. And this will be beneficial for you because you will be reducing random snacking and promoting regular eating habits. About the mealtime, I have an example about my own son. In school, the lunch break is at 11:15 a.m. So during the weekends, I have noticed that he is hungry and ready to have a big meal at that time because his mind and his body is programmed to do so. 5 days a week in row, right? Another example, study sessions. I used to have a client who used to study medicine, and his main objective was to have a regular study time, discipline to study on regular basis, certain times a day. But he couldn't. Why? Because his mind and his body was so distracted with many external cues and triggers. The first thing we did was identifying the places each time of the day he feels more comfortable with. That took us more than 20 days. After that, we created the external cues, studying in the same place at the same time each day. Like mornings, he would bicycle to the library of his university, study there. After a quick and very short light lunch break, he would move to the coffee house across the street, and then the third portion, he had another place closer to his place. So by this, the entrainment process was that his brain associated those specific environments and times with focus and learning and improving concentration, and he could study effectively. The other example could be bedtime routines. I'm using examples that they're very simple and each of us have been struggling with. Many people, many individuals have struggles to go to bed on time. In order to do so, there is some ritual, there are some external cues, following a consistent pre-sleep routine, such as dimming lights, reading a book, practicing relaxation exercises, and prior to all of this, turning off their phones, right? So when you do that, the entrainment process is your body begins to recognize these activities as signals that it's time to wind down, helping you fall asleep more easily and improving sleep quality. Another example could be hydration, drinking water. That has been my main challenge for years because usually my struggle was not feeling thirsty. So I set some external cues, like setting alarms to drink water at regular intervals throughout the day, such as every hour. I would put cups and glasses here and there beside my laptop, close to my bed, everywhere. So entrainment process for my body was the fact that my body became accustomed to these intervals, prompting me to feel thirsty at the same times, ensuring me stay hydrated. There is a very interesting study, I guess it was in Japan, about work breaks. I'm not talking about power naps. Work breaks are kind of breaks that helps individuals, employees, to take quick breaks like 2 to 3 minutes every 90 minutes during work. So this is the external cues, right? And the entrainment process was that the employees' productivity and focus improved as their brain anticipated these breaks, and the whole process prevented burnouts and maintained higher energy levels for them. That's interesting. We are not talking about 10 to 15 minutes nap time. It was 2 to 5 minutes zooming out, not thinking about work, and just being mindful of it, like kind of like meditation or something like that. Speaking of meditation, the other example is mindfulness practices. Again, the external cue will be practicing mindfulness or meditation at the same time each day. You see the repetitive pattern is keeping it in a regular basis at the same time. Like say 7 a.m. every day, 10 minutes meditation. That was just an example. Entrainment process says your mind becomes conditioned to enter a state of calm and relaxation during these times, enhancing the effectiveness of the practice. What about eating healthy? I'm not talking about diets, just eating healthy. The external cue could be planning and preparing prepping meals ahead of time. Every Saturday, Sunday, every weekend, you spend a couple of hours to prep the meal for whole week. So entrainment process will be your eating habits become more structured and consistent, and it will reduce the likelihood for you to choose unhealthy foods. Another example is what most of my podcast listeners have it, I guess, because we have been talking about it a lot, specifically in Farsi podcasts. And it's commute routines. The external cue could be listening to a specific podcast or audiobook during your commute. In order to do that, you need to make it ready. Today, I'm gonna commute for an hour. These are the content I'm gonna listen to. Or if you come across to a content that is very interesting for you and you really want to listen to it, you would save it for the commute time. Or even I always think that if I'm doing house chores like cleaning, tidying up, cooking, stuff like that, even gardening, I would love to have some content to listen to. So entrainment process will be your commute becomes associated with learning or entertainment, making the journey more enjoyable and productive. Last example could be about family time. What's the external cue? Designating a specific time each evening for family activities or planning some activities, places to go for weekends. And as a result, the entrainment process would be family members adjusting their schedules and expectations, fostering stronger relationships and quality time together. My friends, all being said, we can all take advantage of entrainment process and sync our mind and body and physiology to certain habits to create more effective life. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. If you want to apply it, the best practice would be set 2 goals, find 2 triggers or 2 external cues for each of them to create a habit applying the entrainment process. Till next episode, take good care of yourself.